Welcome to the deep dive. So, you've given us some really interesting sources today, all focused on something I think, well, everyone in business chases: lasting success, building a real legacy.
Exactly, not just the quick wins.
Right. It's relatively easy to have a good quarter, maybe a good year,
Yeah,
but what makes a company stick around, make an impact for, say, a decade or more? That's the tough part.
it really is. And these sources, they give us a good look under the hood, focusing on Uri Poliavich, the CEO of Soft Tibet, and his thoughts after, 9 years building his company.
Yeah, 9 years. And he offers this, well, it feels like a very clear framework.
It is. It's about blending that purposeful strategy, knowing where you're going with the human side, the connections.
Definitely. So we're going to unpack his 7 principles. It's like a blueprint, really, covering discipline, being agile, and integrity, too.
Okay, where do we start?
Let's start right at the foundation.
Yeah.
How do you build a business, especially a tech business, I suppose, that's designed not to break when things inevitably change?
Well, you have to accept change is coming.
Right.
You can't build something rigid, monolithic, and expect it to be agile. It just doesn't work.
Which takes us straight to principle number 1 he lays out. Think modular. Build for change. He actually quotes Heraclitus, the old Greek philosopher.
The only constant is change. Classic.
Exactly. So don't build these massive static things. Build ecosystems made of components.
The parallel in the source material to Roman roads, I thought that was great.
Yeah, explain that a bit.
Well, they used paving stones that were basically interchangeable.
Right.
So if a part got damaged or they needed to extend the road, they didn't rip everything up. They just replaced the stones needed.
Swap them out.
Precisely. And that's the aim for modular software design.
And he applies this directly to their main platform.
Yeah, the mega platform motivational engineering gaming application. Launched in 2023. It's built from the ground up with this modularity in mind. It's about decoupling the core system from all the extensions and features.
Okay, so decoupling. What does that mean for, say, someone listening who runs a business or manages a product? What's the takeaway?
It means you build your core system, and then you build connections, interfaces, that let you easily plug things in or unplug them. So for SoftBed, adding a new game provider or a new payment system or even like a whole new loyalty program, it takes them days, not months or quarters. They're actually aiming for what engineers call hot swapping.
Hot swapping, like changing a tire while the car's still moving, almost.
Kind of. Maybe not quite that extreme, but the idea is you can change major components with minimal downtime, minimal disruption to the core service.
That difference sounds huge. If your competitor takes 3 months to add a feature, you can add in 3 days.
Wow.
It's a massive advantage. And it changes how you think about risk, too. If adding something new or trying an experiment doesn't risk bringing the whole house down.
You're much more willing to try things, to innovate.
Exactly. You innovate more fearlessly because you know the core is stable. You experiment on the edges. Which, okay, leads perfectly into principle number 2. Speed wins. Move fast, adjust faster. This is where that modular structure really pays off, right?
Right. It's the modern battlefield advantage. Think Terrence Fortune favors the bold. You need to be quick.
But it's more than just being quick. It's about embedding speed into the company culture, isn't it? He talks about challenging teams to ship minimum viable features, MVPs, weekly.
Weekly, not quarterly.
That sounds intense. I mean, how do you maintain quality? Doesn't that risk burnout or just chaos?
Well, it would be chaos without the right infrastructure. You can't just tell people go faster. You need the systems to support it.
Like automation.
Massive automation. Continuous integration, continuous deployment, CI/CD pipelines. Speed isn't just about coding fast, it's about testing fast, deploying fast, getting feedback fast, and crucially, rolling back fast if something breaks.
Okay, so the system catches errors.
Ideally, yes. Automated tests catch a lot, and the deployment system allows for quick reversals. It's not people manually checking every little thing each week.
And there's a specific example in the sources, right? It's from Q3 2023.
Yeah, this is a good one. They launched a new tournament feature. And pretty quickly, like within 48 hours, their real-time data showed mobile engagement dropped by 20%.
Ouch. That's a red alert moment.
For most places, yeah. But because they're built for speed and feedback, they didn't just sit on it. The team jumped in, figured out it was a UI issue, tweaked the bonus triggers.
And how long did that take?
72 hours to make the adjustments.
72 hours from identifying a 20% drop to deploying effects?
Yeah. And not only did it fix the drop, it actually reversed it. Engagement went up 15% compared to before the whole thing started.
Okay, that's the differentiator. So the takeaway for you listening isn't just speed is good, it's more like,
It's shorten those feedback loops, empower your teams, the small teams, to make decisions quickly, and really truly embrace that fail fast, learn faster idea. Don't punish experiments that don't pan out. Learn from them.
celebrate the learning, yeah.
Okay, so you've got this super modular, super fast system. But as Poliavich emphasizes, tech is only half the story. Maybe less than half.
Right. Servers and code don't run themselves. You need the people.
Which brings us into the human element principles. Starting with number 3, people first. Invest in talent and culture.
And this isn't just like HR fluff. He frames it as a core strategic pillar, drawing on people like Peter Drucker.
Definitely. And they seem to really bake it into the company's operations, like their onboarding process. They call it culture immersion.
What does that involve?
New hires get mentors, but they also get thrown into these cross-functional teams immediately, working on a simulated brand launch. It forces them to collaborate right away across different disciplines.
So it breaks down silos from day one.
That seems to be the goal. Poliavich explicitly talks about rejecting rigid hierarchies. He wants engineers talking to marketers, talking to compliance people, working together.
Because that's where the unexpected ideas come from, the intersections.
That's the theory, that cross-pollination, understanding the constraints and possibilities from different angles.
Okay, and connected to putting people first is how you actually find those people, which takes us to principle 5, hire the fire. Seek passion and innovation.
Yeah, I like this one. It's not just about ticking boxes on a resume or hitting past KPIs. It's about looking for something deeper.
He uses this phrase, looking for people burning inside, people who genuinely want to make better things, who want to make a change.
Right. Not just someone looking for a job, but someone driven by a kind of internal engine, a passion to improve things, maybe even the whole industry.
How do you even interview for that? It seems subjective.
It's probably a mix. Sure, technical skills matter, but they likely use behavioral questions, situational judgment tests, looking for examples where a candidate took initiative, went beyond their defined role.
Looking for that spark.
Exactly. Because that internal passion, that fire, is what keeps the company pushing forward, constantly suggesting new things, challenging the status quo from within. It's not just top-down directives.
Okay, so we have the agile structure, the speed, principles 1 and 2, and we have the passionate people driving it, principles 3 and 5. But how do you steer? How do you make sure all that energy is going in the right direction?
Now we get to the guidance system. Principle number 4, use data, trust instincts.
The balance act.
The ultimate balance act. It's like that left brain, right brain thing. You need the hard data, the rigor, but you also need that entrepreneurial gut feeling.
It reminds me of Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow. You need both systems. Or Mark Twain's line about sound judgment coming from experience.
And experience coming from bad judgment.
Yeah.
You learn by doing and sometimes by screwing up.
So how does Soft Tibet do the data part?
They process apparently billions of data points using machine learning models for things like predicting when a player might leave or tailoring promotions very specifically.
And does it work? Any hard results?
Well, the source mentions their predictive models identifying at-risk players maybe 14 days before they actually churned. And intervening based on that signal improved player lifetime value, LTV, by 25%.
25% on LTV. That's significant. That's huge.
A big number.
But playing devil's advocate here, can you become too reliant on data paralysis, waiting for the numbers before making a call?
He specifically warns against that. Poliavich knows that trap. So if the data is weird or conflicting, like maybe engagement time goes up with a new feature, but deposits go down?
What then?
They don't just blindly follow one metric. They have this process, an intuition check, workshop.
Okay, tell me about that. It sounds like a formal way to capture gut feelings.
Pretty much, they pull in senior people, product leads, tech leads, but also, and this is key, they talk to actual hobby players, casual users, to get the qualitative story, the why, behind the numbers that the data alone might not show.
So they value the anecdotal, the human experience, alongside the terabytes of data.
Exactly. It stops them from ignoring a potentially game-changing idea just because the initial data looks messy. It respects that gut instinct.
I like that. Using data to inform, but instinct to make the leaps. Okay, which brings us to principle number 6. Think long, act now.
Another balancing act. Vision without action is just dreaming, right? But action without a long-term view is just running around in circles.
Like that proverb, Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
Second best time is now.
Okay.
Exactly. You need both perspectives.
So for the long term, Poliavich keeps a rolling 5-year strategy, looking at big picture stuff like acquisitions, new tech like VR casinos.
Yeah, that's the horizon scanning. Where does the market seem to be going?
But then there's the act now part.
Right. And they do that with things like rapid fire weeks. These intense 7-day sprints focus purely on solving immediate critical problems.
Like what?
Could be anything pressing. Optimizing a specific user journey, like the bonus flow. Stress testing the server infrastructure before a big event. Tackling an urgent bug. It's about applying resources tactically based on the long-term goals.
So the 5-year plan might say we need VR capability, while the rapid fire week makes sure today's platform doesn't crash during peak hours.
Precisely. It connects the vision to the daily grind. It's a bit like Benjamin Graham in investing. Have your long-term value strategy, but be ready to act on short-term market opportunities.
Okay, that makes sense. Which leaves us with the final principle, number 7. And this feels like it ties everything together.
It really does. Principle 7. Innovate relentlessly, but with purpose.
The with purpose part is key, isn't it? Innovation for its own sake can just lead you down rabbit holes.
Absolutely. Steve Jobs famously talked about innovation distinguishing leaders, but Poliavich adds this anchor: purpose. He insists that every single innovation, every new feature, must clearly serve at least one specific stakeholder.
And those stakeholders are?
The player, the end user, the operator partner, so they're B2B clients, or interestingly, the wider community or industry.
Okay, let's revisit the mega platform example with that lens. They added gamification, city building, collectibles.
Right, and the result was a huge jump in engagement, session length quadrupled, revenue up 65%, big numbers.
But the purpose, according to the source, wasn't just hitting those numbers. It was also about proving that gamification could make play more engaging and potentially safer, more responsible, by structuring how rewards are given out.
Yes, connecting innovation directly to responsible gaming. And you see that in other examples too, like their adaptive odds system.
Using machine learning for fairer betting lines.
Exactly, which benefits the player with fairness, builds trust, and probably reduces regulatory headaches for the operator.
Right.
Win-win-win if you include the platform itself. Same with their responsible gaming tools, personalized limits, nudges towards safer play.
So it really demonstrates that long-term thinking means seeing sustainability and social responsibility not as costs, but as integral parts of profitability.
Totally. Poliavich's journey seems to show that enduring success isn't luck, it's engineered. It's deliberately built on these kinds of principles, combining ancient wisdom with very modern execution.
Build modularly, move fast, trust your people, use data and instinct, think long and short, and always innovate with purpose.
That's the blueprint we've distilled here. It's about being a deliberate, values-driven architect of your business.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. We've dug deep into this idea of modularity, being able to hot swap parts of your system or strategy. So looking at your own work, your own career path right now, what's the one modular component that really needs swapping out?
Could be a piece of tech you rely on, sure, but maybe it's a slow internal process, or even just a way of thinking, a cultural habit that's holding you back.
What single thing could you change, maybe even starting today, to make yourself, your team, or your product just that little bit more agile, more ready for whatever comes next? Something to think about.